another episode of Boca Business with Papa Sturm. I'm Papa Sturm, and for the first time, I'm not the host of this show. We were lucky enough to have all the partners that started Podcast Junkies on one podcast right here, and I'm going to talk for a couple seconds about. Can we do a full shot of all of us here? We got on my far left. I like saying on my far left, which is probably on your far right, right? If that it's reverse.
Yeah.
Is John Orlando? There's no H.
No H.
Why did they take that? Did you have the H removed? Or?
Yeah, they probably figured I'd have trouble with it. You know,
right.
My mom was like, "Let's just keep it simple."
All right, all right. We've got Lauren right here.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Lauren,
Hi.
there you go. You got a great voice for this. My God.
I do? What do you mean? I
it's like kind of like
I have a podcast voice?
She's really now the queen of Podcast Junkies
It's true.
Studios,
Yeah.
really.
Very sultry.
Oh, yeah, I am the queen.
You're the queen.
Very sultry there.
I like that.
And I also
am I a
noticed-
good queen or a bad? Am I Cersei or am I like a good queen?
Oh, no,
You're a
you're
great
definitely a good
queen.
Am I queen of dragons?
You're
or-
actually always in a good mood.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
I
and also
like
got
that.
to notice the eyelashes too. And I'm like the one guy that always notice eyelashes. You know why?
Why?
Because one of my businesses is an Amazing Lash Studios,
Okay.
which I think I go in about once a year. So
Yeah.
whatever. And then to my right is the awesome Travis Flesher. So this is
You just winked at the camera. I just saw a
did?
wink. Yeah. You just give it a wink.
Here, cut to my close-up.
I like that.
There you go. That's for the ladies out there and men. I mean, non-binary too.
right. Yeah.
Anyone out there?
All right.
Listen, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyone can find it
So this started. We won't talk about the way past, but this started where John and I had time to kill, and John and I met. We were like great friends the minute we met. We met in a sports bar, right? In a sports book, not a sports book. In Vegas, and then I had time. I was in Vegas another time. I had time to kill a little while later, and we decided to do this, and it was just on a whim, like we got to kind of think about doing this. We had a few more discussions. Are you serious? And we, of course, Travis has always worked with John, and then we were lucky enough to brought Lauren in, and I I came out about a couple months later. We put it all together. We worked out a deal, and it's been great. It's been phenomenal, and in my opinion, for what we have right here, we didn't even have a location. We didn't have a space or a location or what, and but we had these visions of what it should be. And if you guys ever in Boca, you got to come and kind of see what we got going there. So
I was blown away. I was blown away. Obviously, I've seen the videos. When you first took the place, and leased the space, and it didn't look like this yet. And pictures and videos and stuff. And then you guys were shooting. Travis flew out here a couple times. Was sending progress videos in our group chat and stuff. But I don't know how you feel, Lauren, but it didn't do it justice, right?
No, I mean, I'm overwhelmed in a good way.
Right.
And I wanted it to be that way. I kind of wanted this epic feeling when I got here. Because I would get all the messages. I'm like, okay, Travis is taking care of business.
Yeah.
Mark is taking care of business.
But the pics and videos didn't.
No.
I don't know.
And I love that right outside you can just walk and kind of check out the advertisement.
The window vision that you have.
The
Is that what it's
window
called?
yeah, it's called Window Vision. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could see what this studio is all about. This is for anyone who wants to start a podcast. Anyone who had for me, I got into podcasting. I mean, John caught me at I think it was a coffee shop. He caught you at a bar.
Where are you, John?
Yeah, where are you hanging out? Where in the world is John Orlando?
So wherever you are, you're not. You're you're a victim of he's gonna get you to start a podcast.
You're a victim.
But we started, and I was like, okay, I was already sold because I had already done a couple podcasts at Sticky Paws with other shows, and I was like, okay, I know how to be interviewed, and I enjoy that space, but I was like, what does it take to actually be a host? And I thought that might be way more overwhelming than I can imagine. And then you talked to me, and you're like, no, actually anybody could, if you can answer questions, you definitely can talk on a podcast. And I was like, okay, I've been thinking about this for about a year. Let me just put it into action. I have a lot of topics. I have a lot of exciting things to talk about. And it's just it was fed my soul.
Yeah.
I feel like for me as, a social media person, I was I have my Instagram where I can post pictures and videos, but to me, that's not
It's not fulfilling.
That's not fulfilling.
Right?
No. That's not all that I have to do and say. In fact, I have so
fulfilling
much
for your fans.
yeah, maybe for them.
Yeah.
But I actually creating this type of content where you can talk about your soul, your mental health, your hobbies, your passions, taboo things that you can't necessarily get away with trolls on the internet.
Right.
You can get away with on podcasting.
Yeah, it's almost addicting.
It's
right?
very addicting.
It's so addicting.
Yeah, you had never hosted anything, right?
My first podcast.
Now we can't get you out of here.
Seriously, they're like, guys, come on, No, I'm like, okay, now I see what this is all about.
I thought that, like, it's weird, guys, because, like, with my podcast, I have a lot of solo shows, and I'm, like, talking to myself, but I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to the audience.
Yeah.
And I'm answering questions that people might ask me or people are interested in. If they've, engaged on a certain photo or video that I post on Instagram, I'm actually talking to them. So at first I was like, wait, how do you talk to yourself? You're talking to your audience.
Do you watch them back, or do you not like to? You do?
At first I was very weirded out by it.
Yeah.
But I actually really enjoy it because I'm getting to learn how to, like, it's almost like being a professor. You learn how to teach better, you learn how to talk better, and you learn, like, what little, like, phrases you should have said, maybe a little shorter and sweeter, or where you were going with it. Because when you're watching, you're like, I know where you're going with this. But when you're talking, sometimes you don't always know what tangent you're going to end up
Do you watch Mark? Do you watch yours back or no?
I've seen 2 episodes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's the clips that they've made. I see those like
clips.
1,000 times.
Yeah.
I think, podcasting in general is just a fantastic medium. It's
it really is.
It's like, imagine writing a journal, right? Like every day, and then putting in your like nightstand, and then the next year you'd start a new journal. Like podcasting is what our generation would call that journal.
Yeah.
Like it's putting your thoughts unadulterated, unfiltered, and then just putting it out there.
But you get like your voice, you get your facial expression, you get your passion. Like, I've actually done an audiobook before where I had to sit in studio, so it's similar to this where you have to talk. And to hear your own voice tell a story versus reading a book, you don't hear the inflection when you read a book. When you're in podcast, you hear someone's excitement, you hear their passion. So it's like an expressive journal.
It's an expressive journal, and it's just like whenever people put something on paper, and I'm sure if you guys have gone to college or graduated high school, the first few words on a paper is the hardest to do, and then when you're writing, you kind of lose your voice, and then it's just, for me, it gets really exhausting. But my mind goes 24/7, constantly. Put a microphone in front of me, I can talk for years. But like, even if it's like mostly valuable, whatever you're saying, it's the truest form of what you feel, right? Podcasting has gotten a lot of people in trouble, right? But it's made a lot of people start to really like, oh my God, like I feel the same way, even if it's like a little bit unfiltered. Like, this is a real person. You put anybody who's like news agent or a newscaster or somebody who's just a professional, put them in the seat. You're always going to be like, they might be talking about coffee because they're a coffee shop or whatever, but then they start talking about cigars, and then they talk about their kids, and they talk about their life, and you're like, oh, this person's a human.
Yeah.
They got like more than just whatever their brand is, and podcasting does a lot for that.
Would you guys? So something I've heard over and over again, and I'm seeing it every day, is I've heard people say everybody has a podcast in them. You guys are
yeah,
more than that.
Yeah, because everybody has a story to tell.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you have a different, unique story. You might be weird, you might be quirky, but you start to own who you are. And you connect with the audience of who you are. So if you're a sports junkie over here, you're gonna connect with all of those, and then you start to connect with other people. Like, even in the studio, you meet people with different niches, and then you become friends with them. And you're like, okay, I'm talking to a crime scene investigator, and now I'm talking to a weirdo that's.
Wait, were you on that show with that guy?
I never was yet. I will for sure. Yeah. But it's like stuff like that where it starts to joggle your brain and network with new people and. Yeah. I don't know. It's a super
how many
fun.
podcasts are there, like, total? Do you know?
You mean total everywhere?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's something where it's like 6 million or something.
I actually think that number is going to end up at like 500 million.
Oh, it has to.
Oh,
I think just like everyone has an Instagram page with their 2 billion or whatever they're at, you're going to see. Now, I don't think everyone that has an Instagram will have a podcast, but I'll bet you it's 10 to 20%.
Well, 436,347 will be from us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like
Podcast
that.
junkies.
I'll take it. Yeah. It's a good number.
So where do you guys think? We talked about it. Where do you think this? So this is the Podcast Junkies, soon to be franchise.
Yep.
Studio 01.
Yeah.
Yep.
Store
Yeah,
one.
where are we going from here? What do you got? What's your guys' vision? What do you guys
I
think?
mean, it's gonna pop up all over the U.S.
Yeah.
Especially
You're
you four
gonna be
running it.
driving down a highway. You're gonna see a sign in like a shopping mall and be like, podcast junkies.
I don't even know if I told you yet because it's like early to loop you in yet, but I'm talking to a guy about doing one in Dubai.
That just
Did I
happened.
tell you that?
No,
Okay.
I put him on a phone call with
Okay,
them,
good.
yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
JV?
I'm only on the early
JV?
strain, not the early text message.
What's that?
You guys got like the early text message, and then there's like the early text message.
Yeah.
Pre-dev.
'cause it's like I like to like vet someone out just a little bit first before like I pull you in or tell you.
yeah.
You know, it's like let me just see, make sure.
Because we kind of get excited about that.
Well,
stuff.
yeah,
Right.
we'll take
I'm
it to
all
the
over
full
it.
throttle.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
who am I tagging? You'll be
Right.
like, okay, can
Right.
Lauren calm down?
Yeah.
Like, let's figure this out.
I have dreams about like hotels in Dubai and how what we're
The
gonna
one
do.
thing, I've never thought would be possible with this whole concept is like, when was the last time you talked to someone and they just like immediately said to themselves like, That is exactly what we're missing or we want. Like you talk to someone about, hey, we're a podcast studio. They're like, okay, cool. But like the moment you say we're opening up stores all over, they're like, oh my God, that's a brilliant idea. Like, like when was the last time you're like, oh yeah, we need another grocery store here. We need a grocery store here. Or yeah, we need another, supplement store here. Like no one thinks like that. Like, or even a haircut. Like, but podcasting, they're like something clicks, and even like a non-entrepreneur mind, they're just like, that's gonna happen. It's without us, it's going to happen. Might as well be us.
And also, right, we're first to the block, and that's and it's funny though, is I've been involved in a lot of like franchises and businesses, and everybody, I'm involved in Massage Envy. My own father, I was gonna say the foreskin, the
foreskin of the
foreskin that he, the forethought person that he is. When I first heard about Massage Envy, I said, yeah, I'm going to buy one of these things. I think it's a great concept. And he's like, nah, that's terrible. The massage therapist in our building can't, with a heavy Jewish accent. Even though he's really not that heavy accent. So everybody has something like a knock on it or whatever.
Sure.
Everybody, I've never heard anybody say anything but this is brilliant. That they love the idea. When they walk in, everybody's overwhelmed. Like it's 100%.
They take care. I mean, Travis, you take care of all and your staff. They all take care of the technological things. So if there's steps to becoming overwhelmed about something like this, it's turnkey. You walk in, you talk for a minute. You don't have to worry about setting up cameras, lighting. You don't have to worry about the audio, the clips, the editing, like everything that would overwhelm someone that's either done influencing or content creation. Doesn't overwhelm you because it's turnkey. It's you literally 100%. Just drop shit.
I mean, that's literally.
How about Lauren just dropping the perfect podcast clip for us in one little shot there?
Well, I was gonna follow that up with I'm not. Did you have a podcast before you came to podcast with us?
No.
Okay, so John, let me ask you this. All right, you started your podcast in 2017, right? Before the studio, before you even thought about any of this stuff. Like from your perspective, going back to then, your mind must be blown of how easy it is to podcast. But like, what were some of the issues, the basic issues where, I could do this on my own. Podcasting's meant to be done at your, house or your basement, whatever. Like both on the business side and the personal side. Like
on the personal side, it just feels overwhelming, right? Because even when it was just audio in the beginning, when I started, it was just audio, and working with that little Zoom recorder, like it's scary looking, and then like, okay, great, I record it. Now, how's it going from the Zoom to the computer up to like Spotify or whatever? Like, it's just overwhelming. For me, I'm not a tech guy, and I feel like most people aren't. Like most people, they don't want to deal with that stuff.
Right.
Cutting and pasting is that's my limit.
Creating titles,
Right.
Control C, Control V. That's all I got.
But you guys are also awesome about creating titles, like
I mean,
and concepts and clips. Like in the very beginning, I was a little bit of a control freak, and if you want to be a control freak about your podcast, you totally can. You can watch it. You can have Dropbox replay. You can check everything.
You
can get your little clips.
Yeah.
I was a control freak about it in the beginning because I'm like, I want this to be good and I want it to be like whatever it's going to be. And then I was like, wow, the staff understands my flow. They understand my voice, and they can create the clips for me now. And I'm like, whoa, I can actually step back and not.
That's amazing when that happens. When your engineer and your producer, or if it's one and the same, when they get like that, look like for Action Junkie, it's like, when's the last time I picked a clip? I couldn't even tell you.
I think
couldn't tell you.
Not in 6 or 8
2
months.
years. Oh, I was gonna say 2 years.
Oh, even since
at least a year, I have not picked a clip.
And talking about the sports staff, it's not support staff because they're part of this team. They're about to grow. I think
load your camera.
Yeah, load your camera. Let's talk about the guys that literally put this together that we wouldn't do without them.
Got Ben and Christian.
Yeah, Ben and Christian. Store 1 employees.
There they are.
Yeah.
There they are.
Cut to yourselves. Let's see them.
The dynamic duo.
There's
the new Batman and Robin. The new. Yeah, I don't know. I ran out of superhero duos.
Patrick and SpongeBob.
Superman doesn't have anybody, does he?
No.
Are there any superhero duos other than Batman and Robin? Because Robin, no one even cares about. It shouldn't even use Batman and Robin as the. Because we care about these two.
All Robin was good was for the belt with all the shark repellent.
It's all about the villains now.
Yeah. It's all about the villains.
Yeah. I don't even know if the villains have best friends, but.
The villains are like the heroes.
The Joker and then what's her face? Harley Quinn or something.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But they're both men.
Yeah.
So so like, I mean, I just want to just cut to your face really quick. Your faces. So on the left is Ben Castro. He's a fantastic human being. We got Christian Perello on the right. Guys, go follow them on their Instagrams. They're great people. But what makes all these stores unique is that these guys are they're not employees. They're They're business owners. They are producers. They do, like, these guys choose your titles. They upload it. They understand. Like, when speaking to, John, talking about, like, how, like, the engineers, it's, day one, they record one podcast. But, in 2 weeks, with 50 clients, they're recording at least 100 a week. And then they know exactly what's a good podcast and a bad podcast. I'm sure at the end of this, they're going to be like, hey, guys, can we change
It's crazy. Before we even started this show just now today, we were just talking about, this place has been open how long? What,
6 weeks?
Less than a month?
Yeah, about a month, yeah.
I mean, open, like 6 weeks, but like where we're like...
Going? About a month.
About a month.
Like a month.
Yeah.
There's 15 shows already?
Yeah, 15 members already.
That's crazy.
That's amazing. Good job,
And
guys.
No advertising, no marketing. That's just these two coming in.
Hit. Because we didn't want to start the marketing because we didn't want to bombard them. We had to kind of figure out what we're doing because there's only, it's only.
We're inventing.
How many times did Ben run out this door literally yesterday and tell someone they need a podcast?
I didn't think he needed to tackle that girl though. But it was kind of cool. He drove her to the hospital and got her to sign up.
Yeah,
he wiped the blood off.
He's like, sign the waiver and then sign the membership form.
Yeah. And he also got to try it with the Dolphins too as the middle linebacker over there. Yeah,
it's just crazy. Podcasting is like another aspect of this company is really just education. Like podcasting right now, podcasting in 2023 on today's date is like what websites were in 1999.
100%.
And like what I mean, if you're not even doing your own podcast, but you're definitely watching other people do their podcasts, so you're getting a lot of information. I feel like it used to be the age of like YouTube tutorials, and now it's like I'm not gonna watch YouTube tutorials. I'm gonna listen to a podcast where someone's vouched for, and they're like however many episodes into a content.
You give someone a microphone, they become an expert in whatever they're talking about. It's like a psychological thing. Like that's why all the dictators like had a podium up on really high, like right.
I would also say that I was worried about like when you mess up and you say something you shouldn't say, and that being like a deterrent for myself or maybe anyone else. But actually, it creates this like barrier of safety because you can say what you want and you can mess up, and it's like actually okay. That's the whole point. We're being natural. We're being real.
Right.
We can mess up, and you don't feel that like pressure that you do of other social medias where you have to have perfection and the trolls are going to get you and they're going to have cancel culture. Like it just feels authentic. It just feels real. Yeah.
And the website analogy I think is a good one because, if you're a business, you don't have a website, you don't exist.
Yeah.
And it's the same with a podcast now. It's going to get to that point where if you're a business, you're going to have a podcast, or at the very least, you're going to be a guest on podcast, but I'm pretty sure you're going to have a podcast. One or the other though, but or both.
It's just like, as inconsequential as a podcast is for a company, you might think like, what's the one company that doesn't need a podcast? Let's just say a cookie company, right?
Yep.
There's a good example of Crumble Cookie, saying that the main reason why they have hit a million sales or whatever is because of their podcast. And guess what? Their podcast isn't, come on down, we got a sale on Tuesday. Like, people don't want to be advertised to. They want to be entertained. And if the company that is supporting the entertainment is a company that is, like a cookie company, and you're just like, okay, we're reviewing cookies, we're making funny jokes about it. Now I can watch this show about this cookie company and just passively absorb it as like an advertisement.
It's
but
organic.
it's not. But it's entertaining. It's valuable to the person listening. So it's called like valuetisement or something.
Advertisement.
It's almost subliminal of yesteryear.
Yeah.
Subliminal advertising, where
But
they just kind of just throw it out.
It's so
there for the
authentic.
mic.
It's so real. Like, I think we've been bombarded with these ad bunny type ads, and I know I have because I've been part of it for that. I've been in social media for like almost 10 years, and people can tell. I can tell. They can just like disconnect immediately when it's an ad.
The first 2 seconds they know.
But as soon as you say like you're having people already engaged in your story and the story you're telling or whatever on your podcast, it's like okay. And by the way, guys, mental health, I'm struggling with it, but like I've been using this new happy juice. It's like this company that sent me this stuff. It boosts my serotonin. Like I finally feel better. Like that right there was an advertisement. But it's like I'm also using it, and you could tell that I'm being real about it. If I'm like, okay, guys, we're gonna stop for a little thing, and this is my discount code. Like, okay, but that's
like,
not how
watch
people
this 30-second ad. Like, and then it's just like, I mean, if literally hackers could figure out outside of an ad block how to skip those ads that are like 15 seconds long, you can't skip, that would exist.
Yeah.
And podcasting really puts the power in the person making the content, because podcasting is so new. Well, it's like YouTube back in 2006. There's no support for it. Uploading is really confusing. Which is really kind of like our primary value here is that, you can record an audio file at home, but like then what, right?
Right.
But
the then what is what gets you.
Yeah, it's like, it's not even just, you don't really need all of this. Obviously we do it because we're trying to capture the biggest level of audience and like trying to make it clean and stuff. But if you just have a good story, You have something to talk about, and then everyone knows that if you put more than 40 hours a week in something, you should probably be getting paid for it. And it's like one might say that you're selling out, but are you really, if you believe in the product and if you integrate it in an entertaining way? Like we can talk about a water bottle company and just have it on the table, right?
Yeah.
And you have all of these content created clips forever. So whatever you're going to say about your business, or your product, or your life, or your story, you probably believe that for a long time, and you have them going forward. So you can have all these clips already pre-made for you, going for however long.
Yeah. And what's kind of cool about it, I didn't, it's funny because I had heard, the first time I ever heard about it, I was in Las Vegas in Sticky Paws, and I heard Travis talking about the clips and the business clips, and I didn't even know what, I only was audio. I didn't know anything about video.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden a light clicked, like, oh, wait a minute, like clips, and you put it on social media.
Yeah.
Wait, that kind of makes sense. And I didn't realize how fucking awesome it was until I put the clip of my first show we had Muhammad Ali's ex-wife, who will be here tonight at the party, and I put it on my Facebook page.
Right.
I got 2 members as a result of that.
Yeah.
The very
And
first thing,
you'll, as you do more
Yeah.
shows, and you'll have people actually say to you, "Oh, I listen to your show, or I watch your show every week," and all they actually mean is they watch the clips on
Right.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever.
Really?
They don't even mean they watch your show.
Yeah.
But for them, that is watching. In their eyes, that is like they don't have an hour or the 40 minutes to watch the whole thing. But if you put out 7, 8 clips, whatever it is, every episode, that's what they watch.
And it's actually really cool because unlike you guys, I'm a neophyte at this. Like throwing out big words.
Yeah, please don't use big words.
Yeah. That's about
I feel attacked.
I think it means I'm a virgin, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I've had a few people say, "Oh yeah, I listened to your podcast, whatever," and I'm like, "Really?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
You'd be
that's
surprised
really
people
cool.
wanna-
Wow, get out much?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, there's even clients from Vegas and are here that they don't even want to post the full length podcast. They just record the podcast as a means to create content. Think of Lauren, as you as a content creator before podcasting, how much effort, hours in versus content out, do you put in to just create one post, one TikTok? It's how much
It's so overwhelming. You have to create, you almost have to create a script that's not a script. You have to get ready, hair, makeup. Then you have to have the actual videographer, photographer, make sure that's all set, coordinate schedules, get the content back. Some of these content creator generators, like an editor or a photographer, videographer, they don't get back to me right away. So unless I have my own staff, which I would need to create the content, it can take weeks.
And let's just say that that will probably cost you $2,000 in labor. And then let's just say for every
it's expensive to create
30
content.
seconds you create, you spend about 4 hours of prep time.
Absolutely.
You come to a place like this. Podcasting is not just a place to exercise your hubris and podcasting and to say you have a podcast. It's just an efficient way to create content. We all know
It
in
is efficient.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook Reels, all these things, you need content every day because when people swipe, they're only seeing the newest stuff. They might have seen it yesterday, and then that's fine. That's not going to be redelivered to them. So podcasting, we'll talk for 45 minutes, and you could, in theory, if you have enough interesting things to say, cut infinite amount of clips.
Yeah.
Good.
And that's primarily why I baked into all the services here, getting clips, because it's inherent. You don't have a podcast unless
it's
you.
absolutely needed in this day and age. And you can use it across all your social media platforms. And the podcast studio staff will help you upload to your Spotify, to your YouTube, to the shorts, to all these different. Now we have all these different outlets we need to generate content for as a business owner or whatever. So it's super helpful. It's super. And they give you ideas oh, this is the clip that I thought was amazing. Or they'll even say some of the staff or producers will suggest I think you need to work with this other podcast. I think you need to have this guest on your show. It's feeding you ideas. It's giving you content. It's a whole support staff.
So now when you spend those 4 hours for that 30-second clip that's not a podcast, it's valuable.
Oh,
you actually feel
in 4
you're not
hours?
you're not just hurrying up to create content because
No.
I haven't posted today. It's okay, now you can actually outside of your podcast content, you can curate and really make the posts that matter to you because you're not rushing to create it. You create a podcast.
Me,
okay, go ahead.
4 hours. Okay, I'm probably going to do about an hour per podcast, and that's for 4 weeks. So they do about 3 to 4 clips per. That's 12 to 15 content creation clips for all my different social media in 4 hours that I literally just walked in and walked out.
Right.
I didn't do anything else. That's all I did is talk for 4 hours.
And if you get it on a cycle, that's the thing about podcasting, and why it's such a great unedited is probably better. Is always better is because you come in, you speak, you have little nuggets, right? You create the 1 minute clips. You have 7 pieces of content a week. You record on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a clip comes out and you record again. So it's like an infinite content machine.
Wash, rinse, repeat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always fresh. It's always interesting. And even if they listen to your full podcast or just watch the clips, they're all viewers in the same. You can monetize it above and beyond just doing it for your business for whatever vertical. But also, it's just fun.
It's freaking fun.
It's just like
so
how
fun.
much would you spend? How much do you guys all have individual hobbies? Some more degenerate than others, I'm sure.
Notice he looked at me on the degenerate stuff. Yeah.
Well, okay. So think about how much money you spend on your hobby just because you enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Even if podcasting is not meant for monetization, $4.99 a month to just come into a studio, record with your friends, have a good time, have a couple drinks, and then if that's all that comes of it,
yeah.
I mean,
we're beginning to notice that. We've had a few people come
that's
in.
Like
where they
that's 4 dinners, and I would spend more than $4.99 for 4 dinners.
It's so cheap. It's crazy.
Easily.
And it's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's intoxicating. We're like going like full circle back to the start. It's just an intoxicating thing.
It's weird because you open up these weird avenues. Like John is very connected to a lot of people. Mark, you probably connected to a lot of people. Me, I have my own little areas. But once I started podcasting, I had a different network of people. Like it wasn't just my caliber of like social media models or content creators. I'm like, now all of a sudden I'm talking to doctors, attorneys, lawyers, like some of the Tony Robbins mentor types. And I'm like, how is this door opening for me?
Yeah.
It's simply because I'm podcasting, not like anything else, really.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's like joining a new group, like a new group of friends.
It's a new cult of people that are fun to talk to.
Yeah, you ask, let's give someone Gary Vaynerchuk, if you guys are like a internet kind of guy. Gary V. So you ask Gary V, hey, Gary, you want to go grab some tea or coffee one day? Just to sit down, he's going to be like, no. Right?
He doesn't have time for it.
Yeah, no time. Like what for friend? No. But if you're like, hey, Gary V, I have a podcast.
Right. 5 minutes, I'll send you a Zoom link.
5 minutes, I'll send you a Zoom link. They more times than not, they're gonna be like, oh, this is more than just like a selfish relationship. So, but it acts as both. It's both a networking tool, right? Yes. I can ask somebody who's a CEO of a company, who is a spokesperson at that moment. You get them on a podcast, you interview them formally or informally, whatever. But then you built that relationship. Now you've literally just had the equivalent of beers or some coffee. And then afterwards, you're going to deliver the clips. You're going to see the content. They're going to be in a great light. Now you built that network. Then after that, guarantee you'll have coffee with that person.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you brought that up. Like if you're watching this and you're thinking about starting a podcast and you want to have guests on, and in your head you're like, oh, I don't know anybody. I couldn't get any cool guests. You are 100% wrong. You just touched on it in a way. I mean, you said you're talking to doctors and lawyers and stuff, and you probably have a lot of inbound coming in, people saying, hey, I would love to be on your podcast, whatever. And I don't know how much you're doing so far DMing people to get people. You're going to be shocked. And someone may go, oh, well, Lauren's got 4 million followers on Instagram. Of course she's going to get people. But I'm a great case study. I mean, I have 6,000 followers on Instagram. And people, you'll be surprised how many people will get back to you, strangers, when you DM them to be on a podcast.
Absolutely. Oh, my gosh. Absolutely. I mean, I still have people that are I feel like outside my threshold because, you have like...
But they're not.
I feel like if I create, valuable enough content, which over time you kind of develop a niche, you kind of get comfortable behind the camera, you kind of get comfortable behind the mic, and then you start to develop, your content, and you actually feel like I can reach out to that person, I can interview them, I can talk to them, and you build a rapport for yourself. So
it's funny too, because I'm also learning that it's also valuable in the real world too. I think we're like all larger than life, and we meet people all the time. Ben tackles them, but we just say hello. And hey, nice meeting. You know what? You need to kind of be on my podcast. And I tell them about it. Well, I'd really love to do that. You get a business card, and next thing you know, you made a new friend or whatever. It's really an unbelievable way to network. You know? It's for lack of a better term, it's an icebreaker.
And it's also incredibly therapeutic. Like if you've been through any level of, let's be honest, all of us are through like random ass traumas, through relationship or just cultural trauma. But it's a way to just an outlet to just kind of vent about things if you need to and get your story out there. And if you're pivoting in life, like if you're pivoting careers or pivoting hobbies, and all of a sudden you're I don't know where I am, or I lost my purpose, I don't know what I'm doing, maybe I'm going through a breakup, you can talk and vent it out. It's so therapeutic. It's basically talking to a therapist, but except now you have an audience, now you're engaging, and now other people are going to give you more feedback. So instead of getting feedback from one human, now how many more humans? You're definitely going to get more than one human to give you feedback. So it's insane. It's like you build so much connection with people, and you build more value for yourself because you realize, oh, I'm more valuable than I thought. Like people are going to relate to some of the weird ass things that I've been through. You know?
Yeah.
You guys want to hear something fucking crazy?
Tell me.
Yeah.
We're out of time.
No, really?
35 seconds left, according to
Wow.
Wow.
I like the
So
countdown
fun.
clock.
Wow.
I like that.
Yeah, I cannot believe this. So wait.
Can you
so-
wrap this up in 25 seconds?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to wrap it up, but we're going to take it a real quick down memory lane.
Okay.
All right, we're going to talk about the first time I met Lauren, and when we were all there, and we kind of, we were thinking about it, doing it, and I forget what restaurant it was. Some
It was
fast
the donut shop, like that crazy donut shop, or the bagel shop, Bagel Mania.
Oh, right. We went to
Yeah.
Bagel Mania.
Yeah, and
That's
we
right.
decided,
Pink
we
box
shook hands.
donuts. Yeah.
We decided to do it. We had a dream. We had no idea how the fuck it would turn out. It's beyond our wildest dreams, and now we're
doing it.
Now we're partners and
Yeah.
literally on the verge of
We're junkies.
creating a fucking
Yeah.
dynasty.
And shout out to
Right?
you,
Yeah.
to you and Dave for jumping in,
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Having
believing
the
in
faith.
I
us.
believe in you guys. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe in this for
Yeah,
real. I
having
mean,
the
it's just
faith.
like having all the different parts, and
Yeah.
like we do. We kind of have
Yeah,
to.
and we kind of know. Yeah, it's we trust each other, and and we know we got
It's
each
good.
other's back. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm excited to see what this place looks like in 5 years of not only podcasting and as a whole evolving, but what does the retail and service side of podcasting? Because
Right.
podcasting will always become easier. Companies are always going to make the newest piece of technology that just is one button to record at home. So it's interesting to see what as a company we can continue to provide value for our clients and stuff like that. The technology will change, the vibes will change.
Am I allowed to ask a triggering question, Travis?
Yeah, you
Yes.
You can tell me.
trigger
You can tell me if it's too
Shout out
triggering
to
for
Lauren's
you.
show
Okay.
called Triggered.
I have a show called Trigger, guys.
Triggered.
Check it out. But no, so big tech companies that are like putting on sportscasting anchor
Sure.
productions. How much more expensive is that than something like this?
Oh, I mean, if we're talking about just concepts of just ranges of dollars, like an ESPN studio or like a local
Yeah,
news station,
yeah.
not
Yeah.
even an ESPN studio. You're talking about minimum $10 million to just be put into the cameras, the switchers,
I was
the
going
staff.
to use
insane.
Blue Wire as an example in Vegas,
Oh,
right?
Yeah, the
you know,
podcast studio in the Wynn
there's
Hotel.
a
yeah.
podcast studio
They
at
do
the
it so
Wynn.
much cheaper than us.
Wynn put
No way.
Wynn put $7 million into Blue Wire.
That's insane.
Wow.
And the building
Wow.
itself is literally no bigger than the space here, which is 500 square feet.
Yeah,
1,000 square
Be-
feet.
it's a
Do you-
beautiful
1,100 square
studio.
feet.
I'm not shitting on it.
So
but
Travis, so are we looking at an evolution of streamlining this?
Well, the thing is as companies evolve their technology to make personal podcasting easier, it also makes our job at the studio on the retail level even easier too, because we have super complicated mixers and these microphones are great, but at the end of the day, we're doing a simple thing. We're cutting cameras right now. The engineer is cutting every camera. Go to the wide. There you go.
Boom.
See, that was done right
Yeah.
now. That was done in the moment and produced live. So eventually, I could even foresee AI and stuff like that where there's no engineer. It is mixing the. It's
Bite
mixing-
your
Okay,
tongue.
things just
Nah,
went right
nah,
out the
nah,
window.
nah.
Ben's
No.
eyes just got
Hey,
big like a
hey,
spotted owl.
Terminator.
Goodbye.
The cameras will cut automatically. The clips will cut themselves. But
Oh,
the one thing that will never go away, and the one thing that I will believe in 100%, AI don't replace people.
I agree.
AI replaces the people who don't use AI.
Yeah.
So us as a company, we're looking at ChatGPT. We're looking at all of these podcast platforms and all these tools we can use. And one, it will never understand the brand.
Yeah.
But if a person is invested in the brand, they know what their audience is, they know the demographic, they can feed it information and really make it more refined. So now you're thinking about even just starting a podcast on your own. You're not even you're thinking about the technology. You haven't even thought about the script, right? But you come to us, now you don't have to think about the technology, and now you're thinking about what you're saying. One step further, if we don't have to worry about the technology switching itself or doing all this stuff, we can focus on services that matter, more content production. Let's actually start thinking about what exactly you're saying. As it evolves, you might be able to find one of these at a kiosk in a mall. You just sit down, you click a button, and it just starts recording.
Yep.
Oh my God.
It's that is the evolution, and technology-wise, about podcasting. But podcasting might turn into YouTube in 2006. At first, it was just people filming their kids or whatever, but then it turned into a whole business of people creating content to entertain people.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just conversations, but what is podcasting? Does podcasting and YouTube kind of converge where people are doing hybrid vlogs, hybrid on-location stuff, playing video games while podcasting?
hell
All of this stuff exists, and
Sure.
at a certain point, we might Podcast Junkies might be more than just a conversation. It might be a game studio. It might be an AI content studio.
Wow.
It's the possibilities are endless, and it's scary. But we're not going to shy away from any new technology. We're not going to become just like the super giant that just finds its niche and just sticks with it.
Yeah.
Evolution is coming constantly.
You know what's crazy is I watched that countdown clock click down to 0, and now it's flashing. It says, "Get the fuck out." It's the craziest thing.
We're getting
it's incredible how you made it do that.
We're getting signals.
It's like, "Get the fuck out." Get the fuck out. It's crazy.
We're like the Dolphins and Kansas City Chiefs in 1970. We're in double overtime right now.
1970?
Yeah.
That was before I was even thought about that.
That's the year I was born. That's okay.
My parents,
I was
children.
10. I was 10. But anyway,
this was fun.
Wasn't this great?
Yeah.
This was. I can't believe how fast the time went.
Yeah.
Like that's what talking about podcasting.
Come to Boca.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Podcast Junkies. It's fucking great. It really is so much fun. And everybody that sits here just has a great time.
Yeah.
You know, it's awesome. This is another episode of great episode of Boca Business with Papa Sturm. I'm Papa Sturm, and I want to thank you guys for listening.